Whoa, boy. Bill Gates really let the cat out of the hat with this statement.
So sorry for sterilizing so many of you. There's just too many of us, and some of you are not nice. That's why I'm trying to block out the sun. Anyway, I just came here to ask for a pardon from all the Epstein shit. Thank you.
And he might be getting it. As, of course, that fake artificial intelligence video highlights a big problem that a lot of people within the Republican right-wing MAGA space are having with the President of the United States right now, as he just released a statement that's very bewildering, to say the least here, as him and Bill Gates, who, by the way, has a very checkered past with Mr. Epstein, and a 2014 police incident that not a lot of people remember, that we're going to be talking about in this particular video, as James O'Keefe has a DOJ deputy chief admitting that the government is working and doing some sinister things behind the scenes. Is this a legitimate reveal? As he just came out and interviewed Thomas Massie in a very eye-opening interview, as he has some very interesting questions, as well as other members of Congress that are now telling people to brace for more revelations. Are we actually going to get something here? Really? We're going to see, as right now Axios is reporting that pressure from the White House is working, and a lot of support for the Epstein file petition now is being retracted. All of this as we are still waiting here, as the general public starts to have more and more questions about the story of the decade, that a lot of powerful people want to go away. Now, if you appreciate these types of videos and us talking about this particular topic for like 15 years, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. This fake AI video is pretty hilarious because it said something that a lot of people are thinking that's very uncomfortable for people to think about. As Dr. Simon Goodek wrote today, hardly anyone knows that in 2014, police arrested a man at the, quote, Bill and Melinda Gates Seattle mansion where over 6,000 inappropriate images of children. And Epstein's buddies, Gates, still isn't prosecuted. Instead, he's dining with the president. Why?
And tonight he's charged with having and trading a massive amount of child.
Oh, yeah. What in the world's going on here? As Donald Trump released a Truth Social statement, which, my goodness, golly gracious, is perturbing, to say the least here. Confusing for vast majority of people, as the President of the United States says, the confused and badly falling Democrat Party did nothing about Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive except befriend him. Yeah, he befriended a lot of Republicans, a lot of Democrats. He befriended a lot of people. Yeah, okay, the Democrat, yeah. That's been the kind of status quo. As a lot of people are now like, what just happened with Ghislaine Maxwell, with her getting an improvement in her position there, as it looks like she befriended him. But listen, Chuck Schumer had money donated to him by Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, there's a big Jeffrey Epstein Democratic Party connection, especially with the Clintons, especially with a lot of the big Democratic Party donors like Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman. Yeah. Trump, you could release all of that right now and expose all these people. Larry Summers of Harvard. My goodness, you have so many connections. Les Wexner, you have so many connections to left-wing, liberal, powerful Democrats. Trump goes on, socialize with him, travel to his island, and take his money. Okay, let's expose who then? They knew everything there was to know about Epstein. Most people did, and they still decided to hang out with him. That's why we should know who actually decided to still hang out with him. But now, years after his death, they, out of nowhere, are seeming to show such love and heartfelt concern for his victims. It's an issue because you made it an issue. Right, let's just be honest with ourselves. This wouldn't be an issue if Trump didn't promise to release the files. This wouldn't be an issue if his administration wasn't saying, we're going to release the files as soon as we get in there. That's why it's an issue. And yes, the Democrats are now seeing this as a major kind of attack vector against the President of the United States, only because the President of the United States didn't keep his promises here. Quote, does anybody really believe that? Where were they during his very public trials? And for all those years before his death? The answer is nowhere to be found. The now dying, after the DOJ gave thousands of pages of documents in full compliance with very comprehensive and expecting subpoena from Congress. Now, this right here, I don't think it's true. They gave 33,000 documents. There's hundreds of thousands of documents. All right, I'm sorry, but the President of the United States lied here. Where are the financial records? Epstein was moving billions of dollars. Billions. How did he get billions of dollars? Who gave him the billions of dollars? That's questions that I think the vast majority of people want to know, since this is at the crux of how corrupted and messed up government is. Epstein, so again, Trump, I lied here. Let's just be honest. The DOJ gave all the documents that were heavily redacted, that were already out there in the general public to Congress. All right? And Napoleon Luna was like, look, we got the documents. And everyone's like, these are old documents. What are you talking about? We got the documents. We got the same old crap we got last time in a binder form. This is not new documents. And before reading this next statement and talking about Project Veritas and what they're doing and Thomas Massey's response here, we wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. One of the great supplements that we have available on our front page is, of course, magnesium glycinate. I cannot recommend it enough. You go right here. It's the third supplement in line. As a lot of people are saying, date night. We both take 4 magnesium glycinates and go to bed at 10. We have a wellness chemist on Twitter, random people. And again, I don't know who these people are. They don't work with me. I don't endorse them. They don't endorse me. But I just typed in magnesium glycinate into Twitter, and this is what people said. Feeling anxious, tired, or mentally foggy? A simple mineral might be the game changer you've been missing. Magnesium glycinate has been shown to ease anxiety, lift mood, and even help with depression in just a few weeks. Here's how it works. Another person said, magnesium glycinate completely changes how I sleep. And he shows a 97% Whoop recovery score. Wow. And people write, the lower you can get your brainwaves to be during sleep, the more restorative your sleep is going to be. Glycine, magnesium glycinate, and he mentions a whole bunch of other stuff, grounding, zinc, sunlight, steroids, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't know about. Talks about how a lot of people have been helped tremendously here. As we have another person saying, magnesium glycinate, the most underrated health supplement on earth. It supports your heart, strengthens your bones, improves your mood, and helps you sleep deeper. Even experts like Dr. Eric Berg swear by it for calm, recovery, and focus. Here's how it works. Look at the thread. Do your own homework before taking anything into your body. But we only have 51 of these bottles available for you on wearechange.shop. 120 tablets, by the way. So this stuff will last you for a very long time. It's a great supplement. You take 2. I usually like to take them with the last meal of my day. And I really love magnesium glycinate. I think you will too. Get it at wearechange.shop and transform your way of life not to be concerned, anxious, and stressed out like the vast majority of people are, because they just clearly don't have enough magnesium in their diets. We used to have great magnesium levels, because our food used to contain a lot of magnesium. Right now, our food is deficient in it. Why? Oh, because of individuals like Bill Gates, according to my own personal opinion. Now, let's go on with this Trump statement. Quote, Epstein case was only brought back to life by the radical left Democrats. Not true. It was brought back to life by your constituents and your supporters and the people who voted for you and the people who were promised you're going to release the documents. Because they're doing so poorly with the lowest poll numbers in history of the party. Okay, I don't think, whatever. I think this is an obfuscation. Quote, while the Republicans are doing so well, amongst the highest approval numbers of the party has ever had, the Dems don't care about the victims, as proven by the fact they never did before. This is merely another Democratic hoax. No, it's not. It's not a Democratic hoax. Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep doubling down on that when, 1, it creates a Streisand effect. 2, you're lying. All right? This is not just like Russia. When it was Russia, I called it out. I said, listen, the media is lying to you. The intelligence agencies don't have anything. They haven't provided any evidence of Russian collusion. And I was the forefront of it, saying, no, the whole Russian collusion story, lies. And I got attacked for it. And I got demonetized. And I got my channel taken down. All right? I had the Washington Post literally calling me Russian fake news. And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? All I'm saying is give me the evidence. Give me the proof. I stood behind Donald Trump when the evidence suggested to stand behind Donald Trump. There's no evidence that proves this is a Democratic hoax. There's only obfuscation and you holding tremendous amounts of documents away from the general public. That's the real truth here. Let's go on. And all of the others, in order to deflect and distract, talk about, my goodness, golly gracious. Listen. Talk about gaslighting. From the great success of the Republican president. Listen, some things the president does is great. Yes, and we call it out and we say it's great when it's great. But this is bad. This is awful. And the record-setting failure of previous administrations and the Democratic Party. The Department of Justice has done its job. No, it has not. No, it has not. It has not. It has obfuscated. It has lied through its teeth. It still hasn't released all the documents. They have given everything requested of them. No, they have not. It's time to end the Democratic Epstein hoax. It won't. And give the Republican credit for the great, even legendary job that they're doing. Make America great again. Republicans do something good. Great job. Cool. Hey, man, good job. This is not a great job. This is an absolutely horrible job. Thomas Massie responded to this by going to Twitter and saying, Paul, is it a hoax that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in an underage trafficking and there is unreleased evidence that would likely expose rich and powerful connected predators to indictments or convictions? And people, 5% said Epstein case is a hoax. Other people are saying, no, release the Epstein files. Yes, release the Epstein files. And people are attacking Thomas Massie. People are attacking, look, how dare you? Call for the release of the Epstein files. Trump was doing that. His administration, his cabinet, all of his strongest, biggest type of supporters were doing that. And again, there's a New York Post article quoting the brother of Jeffrey Epstein that talked about how in 2016, the election would have been canceled if it would have been revealed what Jeffrey Epstein knew about both of the candidates. Who were both of the candidates? Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump here. So clearly there's something else here, as James O'Keefe came out with this video saying, breaking, DOJ chief admits government will redact every Republican while leaving all the liberal Democrat people on the Epstein client list. Says Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a lower security prison as a benefit to, quote, keeping her mouth shut. Maxwell, got transferred to a minimum security prison. It's against BOP policy because she's a convicted ex-offender. Yeah, it's extremely strange that Ghislaine Maxwell got a huge, amazing, incredible boost and benefit towards her prison conditions. Why did she get an incredible boost and a major upgrade to her prison conditions? No one knows. It's against policy. All the prison experts like this. That doesn't really ever happen. Here's a short clip, which the DOJ actually officially responded to, saying this guy. We'll go to the DOJ response in a little bit, but here's what James O'Keefe released.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep it on.
That was the acting deputy chief of the Office of Enforcement Operations, Joseph Schnitt, telling.
Now, This was what looks like a hinge date. The DOJ responded to this, and they said that this guy has no role at the Department of Internal Review of any Epstein materials, and that he has confirmed as much as leadership, and we plan to publish his written statement. He released a written statement talking about how he was on a date, and that what he was talking about, he learned from the media and didn't know anything from the DOJ. That's the DOJ stance here. Maybe they're telling the truth here, maybe they're not. I'm extremely skeptical of this new now DOJ that clearly lied to us. They lied to us about the minute missing from the surveillance cameras. They lied to us about all the documents being released. They lied to us about the Epstein documents being on their desk. They lied to us about needing to protect the victims. That's why they didn't release the documents. They lied to us about Epstein officially taking himself out, which again is a lie. And I'm sorry, but the reputation of the DOJ, the FBI, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi has gone down tremendously during the beginning of all of this, since the beginning of all of this. And lying to people, disrespecting them, is not going to make you a fan favorite, okay? All right? And a lot of these people, they're just destroying their reputations here. And it's so sad to see here. It's sad because everyone was holding on for hope. Everyone was like saying, my goodness, the swamp is actually going to be cleared here. The people who are running the blackmail extortion operations will finally be held accountable. Finally, we're going to have a government that represents us, that is willing to speak for us and not allow a two-tier justice system where the rich and powerful literally get to hurt children and get away with it. I was so excited about that. And that's not a system that we're living under. Again, Trump's DOJ. James O'Keefe released this. Now, James O'Keefe also came out and interviewed Thomas Massie. And he did this right after the Capitol Hall type of press conference. And the two talked about a lot of these important issues that, according to the general public, is very important for the people to understand and quantify here. Now, Anna Paulina Luna came out, and she's having congressional interviews with the victims here. Nancy Mace, she walked out of it because she had a panic attack. Listen, people have panic attacks. Sometimes they just don't have enough magnesium in their system. That's or they actually legitimately have PTSD. And listen, I had panic attacks too. I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's just trying to make it about herself. I don't know. Now, if I had a panic attack, I wouldn't be like, hey, guys, I have a panic attack. I wouldn't be doing that. That's just me personally. But, whatever. Now, let's go on. Let's continue here to see what she had to say.
Well, there's 33,000 pages that have been released. I have to at least look over some of them. I'd like to get through all of them before I decide whether or not I'm going to do that. But I think that they've basically released everything except for the victim information, which obviously we don't release that. One thing to note that today when we were actually talking to some of the victims, one of the women stated that at 14, when Epstein started to victimize her, that she has no recollection of some of the stuff that was done to her. She's hoping to find that out so that she can actually bring it to her therapist and continue the healing process in regards to the damage and the trauma that was caused to her. So, but from what I'm being told, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of very wealthy, bad people. It's actually scary to hear some of the stuff that was brought forward. And so I think the only way to collectively attack this is as a group and as a whole, meaning that Democrats and Republicans have to work together and back home or subpoenas, because I think this is going to be pretty hairy.
Is there more information beyond these 33,000 pages?
Well, there's going to be names. The attorneys kept emphasizing you need to follow up on the names. These girls are not just making this up. These are some of the wealthiest people probably in the world. And
some of the wealthiest people in the world. Who could that be? Who's some of the most wealthiest people in the world? Maybe some of the people that Trump has been meeting with recently, dining with, that, according to their own wives, had to divorce them because they wouldn't stop hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe individuals that are building the CIA Total Information Awareness Program. Maybe some of those people. Maybe some of the people connected to the World Bank, the IMF, the Bilderberg Group. Maybe some of the most sinister people.
Start from there.
So they named individual people that are part of this.
Apparently, in these files that just dropped, I have not been able to look over all the files again. There's 33,000
I'm talking about
pages
in the
of
meeting.
them.
In the meeting.
Oops, it is.
There are some people named, yes.
Were there any public officials that they named?
No, but very, very wealthy people have been named.
Can you name them?
They told us not to because they don't want those people to start basically burning files. So
I think it's a little bit too late for that.
I think this is going criminal investigation for sure. I will say that what's been released, obviously the American people have wanted for a long time. Kudos to the DOJ for getting it to us. I know that some of the delay was due to redacting victim information, and so we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, but now it came out. It's like, oh yeah, it's like it's the old stuff. Oh yeah. Again, the next thing is MTG and Thomas Massie pushing forward this petition and then saying that they're going to name some of the names on the House floor. Is that actually going to happen? When it will, we will, of course, be covering it here. There's a big pushback here against a lot of transparency and accountability from the right. A lot of independent content creators are like, these victims are horrible. They suck. And I'm like, yo, what? What? Bro, whose team are you on here? Like, we're coming closer than ever. And you decide to crap on the victims now? That's very telling for a lot of individuals. And listen, I think we need to make this a bigger story. If you agree, share this video. Like, I'm serious. Get it out there. Rip it. Cut it. Get it out there to the general public. This is more important than ever, especially during these key, crucial, critical times. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't you guys supporting me and we were changing our shop again. We don't have no big donors. We don't have billionaires backing us. We got you. We got you taking care of your health, doing your own research, and getting things like magnesium glycinate. All right? Stay tuned for more and a lot more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange. Beautiful and amazing human beings.